Is making money part of your 2025 goals? Or do you desire to actually make a lot of money for you and your family? In this video, I'm going to show you how to actually do that through biblical principles that I believe are the most foundational, strong foundation for anything. God gave us every formula for every kind of living. But allow me to concentrate only on money making. Because I think I like money. Yes, I do. Now, there is a verse that we all know about in Deuteronomy that says, well, God was talking to the Israelites and said, "It is I who gives you the power to make wealth." I want you to be very keen on the word make. God did not say, "It is me who gives you the power to attract." So for those who think you can attract money, I am sorry. But God said, "It is I," God's talking now, "who gives you power to make." And that is why I will teach you how to. So He has given you the power. How do you use this power to make money? How do you combine all those and end up with that? Great. Let's read the scripture. And before we even read, I am going to give you the context. It is in the Garden of Eden. God has created Adam. And the Bible says, so initially when He created Adam, it is God who called them Adam, male and female. He created male and female as a spiritual being. And then when they became physically into existence, now Adam, God removed Eve from Adam, so that now we have separate two human beings, one male, purely male, and the other one female. So we go all the way, they lived in the garden, and God had these pure instructions and told Adam that I have kept you in this Garden of Eden to keep it and to dress it. To keep it and to dress it. So that was the introduction of work. And at that time, Adam had everything he needed in that garden. So he was not working to provide for his needs. Because they were already provided for. Adam was working to manage. So to dress, so to manage, to dress, and keep it. And we all find ourselves doing this kind of work. To dress and to keep. So every day when you wake up, the first kind of work is the work of self-care, keeping yourself. Every time you wake up, the first kind of work that you engage yourself in is that kind of work that is self-management, where you're managing your area. So you bathe, you dress up, you clean your house, you don't do all those kind of things so that you can provide for your needs. No, you work because that's how we are as human beings. We work because we work, right? So I don't want to really dwell on that topic so much. That would be a topic for another day. Because I want us to go into making money. This is the gist of it all. Making money. So, look. When now Adam and Eve went into the Garden of Eden, and whatever happened, the serpent came, gave them the fruit that they were not supposed to eat. They ate it. And God came and gave new instructions. So remember, before this, Adam would just pick and eat. He did not need clothing, he did not need a shelter, he just stayed in the garden. I believe maybe there were trees that were covering him. The fruits were all over. He would just pick and eat. He wouldn't need clothes at that point. But after the fall of man, after the fall of man, God cast two things. God cast the serpent and he cast the ground. He did not in any way, or rather I have not seen it in my Bible, where he cast Adam or Eve. I have not seen that. All God did was to bring new instructions. Instructions on, now, for you to be able to live in this cursed environment, this is what should happen. Number one, to Eve, started with Eve. In fact, at that time, she didn't have a name. She was called just woman. That's why when God asked Adam, Adam, where are you? He said, it is this woman. That time, Eve didn't have a name. So, he said, it is this woman that you gave me that did whatever she did. So, the new instructions after the fall of man that God gave Eve, at that time the woman, he said, I'm going to increase the pain in childbirth. So, well, he said increase. Before the fall, Eve did not have the woman at that point did not have any children. And how now does God say he's going to increase the pain of childbirth? God is introducing childbirth. And you're going to see later why he's introducing childbirth. Number two, the man. He's being told that you will sweat it out in order to get bread. And so that you all don't say that I'm making this up, let's read Genesis chapter 3. And because you're not going to read the whole story, I'm going to just read from verse 16. From verse 16, God said, and unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. I hope we understand that. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat it. Cursed is the ground. Take note of that. Not Adam. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground, for out of it you were taken. For dust you are, and dust you shall return. So here, in sweat of thy face you shall eat bread. So what God is saying is that we are under new management. Alright? We are under new management. So God introduces childbirth and bread. What was Adam eating before? Let me see if I can use another color. Adam was eating pick and eat. Sorry. Okay, allow me to do this to make it easier. Correct. So Adam was doing pick and eat before. Now God introduces bread. So for you to eat bread, what do you need to do? Ask yourself that question. For you to eat bread, can you find bread in a tree? I believe this is the first time Adam had the word bread. And you're taking it for granted because you know about bread. You were born and in 6 months you're actually eating bread. Adam had never seen or heard anything about bread. This was the introduction of production. For bread to exist, it must be produced. For bread to exist, it must be produced. So, under this new management, with a cursed ground, with a cursed environment, the serpent is cursed, the ground is cursed for man's sake. So there were two things that the woman must do and the man. So childbirth. Why childbirth in terms of production? Think, why childbirth in terms of production? Because we need people to plant the wheat, harvest, harvest the wheat. What else? Grind the wheat to flour. And we also need some bakers, someone to bake. So these two people are not sufficient under new management. And that is why immediately in Genesis chapter 4, you can read that, and I can help you read that. In Genesis chapter 4 verse 1, immediately. And by the way, as soon as God spoke all this and said that the woman, I think it's a blessing, the woman will have childbirth, Adam proclaimed and said, I will call you Eve. Eve meaning she is the mother of all living beings. All. Eve. That is the meaning of the word Eve. The mother of all living things. So immediately, Genesis chapter 4 verse 1, and Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. So, as soon as this was done, these two had to get busy and do what? Produce some children. Why? Because we needed somebody to plant, harvest, grind, and bake so that Adam could eat bread. It was not business as usual. That was the introduction. that introduction takes us to something now very interesting. So God introduces production, and for production to happen, we ought to have collaboration. So we need, for this to happen, we need multiple persons. As one person, you can't produce. And when we talk of production, what do we actually mean? We actually mean, this one is the same as value creation. So let's talk about value creations in terms of bread. For you to be able to eat bread, we have value creations. So we start with farmer. Plants, and maybe the same person harvests. Okay? And then we have the next person is the miller. So grind into flour. Then we have the baker. The baker takes it from here and does what? Takes the flour and bakes into bread. So this is what God is telling us. For you now to be able to feed, you have to create value. Okay? You have to all collaborate by creating value. You have all to collaborate by creating value and producing the ultimate product. The ultimate product. So then, that is all about the ability, the power to create. And because God is a creator, He wants also you to create and to create value. Right? Let me prove to you that after that, everything was all about collaboration and specialization. So in the same chapter, Genesis chapter 4, if you continue, the Bible talks about the generations of Adam after they gave birth to Cain, and then Cain gave birth to Enoch, Enoch to Lamech, and then Lamech gave birth to somebody called Jabal. And Jabal was the father of such as dwell in tents and of such as have cattle. So Jabal was the father of pastoralists or farmers, maybe those who keep cattle. And then his brother's name was Jubal. Jubal was the father of such as handled the harp and organ. These were the musicians. Alright? Sorry. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal-Cain, who was specialist of brass and iron. Great. So, from this day henceforth, collaboration brings forth something called specialization. We're going to talk about this. Production, collaboration, specialization. Okay? And you ask, oh, this is such a big introduction and I want to make money. Hold it right there. Now let's get into our current situation, our modern world, and how we can use this formula to be able to make money. So thank God to Adam and Eve, they obeyed and they had so many children. It's not only Cain and Abel and Seth that you know. Adam had many more sons and daughters. Go read Genesis chapter 4. But thank God they did that, and even after that, the other people continued to have children. Today we have somebody called John. We have somebody called Joy. We have somebody called Jane. And we have somebody called Jill. And we have somebody called Jack. Alright? So these are people, probably you know them. Yeah? You must know a John somewhere, and a Joy, and a Jack, and a Jill. So, what happens is that what happens in the economy is that John, let's say for argument's sake, all these people, they have needs, eat bread and many other needs. So after the fall, we now started having other needs, including clothing, shelter, food. Those are actually the main basic. Food, shelter, and clothing. But because we continue complicating our lives, our needs also keep on getting very complicated. But for argument's sake, we're going to only deal with food, shelter, and clothing. And these people, they have created value that is about food, shelter, and clothing. So, Joy sells shoes. Alright? And Jane sells, let's say, chairs. Okay? And Jill sells, owns a restaurant, so sells food. And Jack, I don't want to complicate it further, but Jack sells something, shoes, jackets. Jack for jacket. Jackets. And what does John sell? John, what do you sell? Yeah? I wanted something that you can get from furniture. Okay, so we're going to, let's say this guy is the one who sells furniture. So this one is John. So this guy is the one who sells furniture. And this lady here sells groceries. Yeah, good. So what happens is, so John needs to create value, needs to create some furniture. He needs to go to the forest, cut some tree, and make furniture. For argument's sake, All these things, we are going to sell them at $100. Okay? So we have $100. So, Joy buys. So transfers $100 to John in exchange to a table. Okay? So John now has the $100 and Joy has the table. Then John is feeling cold. So he comes to Jack and says, "Jack of jackets, I need a jacket." So Jack tells him it's worth $100. So he picks the $100 from the one he got from Joy and buys jacket from Jack. So he gets a jacket. Then we have Jack, who does what? Okay. So Jack is hungry. Goes to Jill. Jill says, "For a plate of githeri, you need to give me $100. Awesome. Jill has the $100 food. So Jill needs some more groceries to make more food. So then Jill goes to Jane. So food is this way. So Jane asks for $100 for some groceries. Right. Jenny is happy, but she doesn't have a shoe. So she goes to Joy and says, "Joy, would you sell me a pair of shoes?" Says, "Give me $100. Then we have a shoes transferred to Jane. So, can you see the $100 that Joy had has gone round the economy, still back to Joy? But see what has happened. Joy didn't have a table, and now she has. John didn't have a jacket, now he has. Jack was hungry, now he is full. Jill needed some groceries, now she has. And Jane has some shoes. There is another guy here called Joe. Joe is here and has nothing that he has created at all. So he's there watching. He's just looking. Yeah? He's just looking at these people as the money exchanges hands. While he has nothing to offer, he has no value to offer. Therefore, money just keeps him. And that is ultimately the way you get money. For Joe to be part of the economy, he must come up with an idea of how he's going to get inside this cycle so that he can also enjoy the money that is running through the economy. So this is God's formula for you. To be able to create wealth, to be able to join in the economy, you must create some value. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to create value that is irresistible in the economy. Thanks for watching. If this helped you, make sure to subscribe. And if you would want anybody else to be helped by such a video, be kind enough to share. Also like it and leave your comment below. See you next.